Okay, guys. So I guess today is the day, August the 10th, 2026, that I've decided to cut my head off. I've decided to start coming back and putting up video logs or vlogs to update what's going on. Okay, you guys, if you don't know, I'm consistently doing my spiritual healing practices and stuff that has to do with elevating and evolving, on a spiritual level on my live stream. So I've decided that I needed to. I had already said this on a live, but I always knew I would, but didn't know when. Anyway, so this vlog is going to be talking about. I'm trying to make them 10 minutes because I'm not going to be on here long because I do that on my live streams. This vlog is going to be talking about how I'm still having difficulties with my identity being tampered with. Okay. Um, so let me just say what happened today to set it off again, that the shit is still happening. So I was reading an article. Actually, I was clicking on a Google page to do something. And then, the main page comes up with all these different articles, and it popped up about some new changes going on with Social Security Administration. So I didn't know whether this it was AL, so I don't know what AL actually is, stand for, whatever, but the site was AL, and A is in apple, L is in love, and that, the new updates and everything, you can go on there and do certain things. So I was like, okay. So every time I click on Social Security Administration, my SSA, I notice it always gives me a little banner that says the last time I was actually on the website. And based on that, the last time I was on there, I think it said July. If I'm not mistaken, it say the 10th or something. Anyway, basically almost a month ago. Well, a month ago. And I was doing the same thing, trying to apply again. And I have been blocked. It has been locked. So what you'll notice is in the Social Security, in your Social Security, is that, it'll tell you about your wages earned, it'll, your benefit award letter if you do receive benefits, the generic stuff. And what it kept doing for the longest time, I can't remember exactly how long back, that it kept saying that everybody would have to update their ability to log in, okay, to the My ID. So let me try to click on it just to see if that's the case. I think it's called My ID. I think it's called My ID. Yeah, so when I get a brand new phone, this phone will be strictly to do certain things only. Like I'll keep certain stuff on here. Because some apps, they didn't transfer over to this phone here. So they're still on here. Let me see. Where is it at? Do I still have it here or no? No, I think I removed it. So let's just try to go to the website. Yeah, my SSA.login. Okay, so this is how it looks. My Social Security online. Okay, and so for the longest, there it is. This is exactly the way it wants you to log in. I don't know if you guys can see it. Okay, the little green says create an account with ID.me. So it made you do it. It made you do it. And I did do it at the time that it was like, okay, hey, you're going to be automatically routed to do one anyway. So I did it. And every time I log in, I go through that. Okay, through the create an account with ID.me. Now, I'm not sure what that's all affiliated with, But it also says create an account with login.gov. Now, I am not, like I said, this came from the Social Security Administration popping up whenever I went into it that said that I had to create the account with ID.me. But you would think that if it's all updated and integrated like it should be, then that other part that says create an account with login.gov is no longer there, because now you have to create it with ID.me. So I'm going to click on it, sign in. This is what I do. This is where I do it at. I just click sign in. It's not going to work on this phone because it's working with the identity of this phone, which it has an active um, cellular paying the bill and, active service. So we'll click it, and then it's going to take you here. You see, it's still having this top one, the blue and the green. Let me screenshot this for the thumbnail. So my point is, I'm constantly doing this. And if you see right here, it says account help and support. Right here, it says account help and support. So I already did that to let it be known that my account is stuck on the hearing that I did last. My account is stuck on the hearing that I did last. Okay? So, again, I'm going to attempt to click the sign in with login.gov just to see what page it gives me. Okay? And this is the page it gives you. So I'm not really sure why you have an ability to do it both ways. Just taking this for my okay? I'm not sure why you got an ability to do it both ways. I have no idea. Because I kept being prompted to do it under the green ID.me. Okay? I believe that it's not just this site that I do that green ID.me. I think I also do that green ID.me on, what is the site? The FEMA site for when like it's a national hurricane and stuff like that, and you apply for it. The FEMA site. I hope I'm saying it right. That one also does the green dot me, and it goes fine. There's no two ways to do it. It doesn't say go this way or go this way. It's only this way. So it has integrated to being strictly that way. I go in, I'm in whatever is going on in my area, that it actually is already filled out that hurricane barrel. If you were in a hurricane barrel, follow these steps, fill out this form, and I did. Okay? So I get so frustrated talking about this because as I'm talking about this, my symptoms are worsening. I am swelling like a huge, huge, huge freaking blimp. Like I'm like a huge water blimp. Like, you know how big blimps are in the sky? I don't know. I'm so full of fluid. And this is ridiculous. Like, I have so much proof of whoever decides to say, let's let the ones that we're targeting know that we have targeted them. I've received all kind of documents saying that my identity has been compromised. So today when I entered into my SSA, I noticed that it immediately said to me, there is no current address for you on file. There is no current address for you on file. Elizabeth Marie Fontenot. Why do you guys think that I was like, okay, I'm understanding it while you're telling me to use my name? I now I get it. Why, my spirit team was telling me, use your name. Use your name. And I already knew when they told me to start discussing this address where I live, that I knew, hey, I knew right away that that had a lot to do with this identity theft stuff that's going on. I always knew that. That's why I always disclose these things, because it really feels like whoever is having this huge, grand, stupid ass scheme to try to like wipe my identity away, that how did you think that I was just going to like, it's because you thought of it in a way like she's a poor black woman living in the projects in Acres Home, Houston, Texas. What can she do about it? What lawyer is going to work with her? Who's going to care? Like literally. So as I see that, I said, okay. So it asks you, would you like for us to send you a benefit letter? Usually it gives you a prompting to download the benefit letter to your phone, pull it up as a PDF file, and print it out. This time it says, would you like for us to mail you one? Another thing it keeps doing is asking me to go digital or paperless. And I've done that before. But it keeps prompting me that every time I go back into my SSA account. So I decided to go ahead and say, yeah, send me a letter to this physical address. So then I went in and I found the Office of the Attorney General site again, or link within, the whole SSA, my SSA account, and sent another formal complaint. And I don't think it's a coincidence that it keeps falling on deaf and blind ears of what I'm saying. So let's do a little breakdown because we are in the 12-minute mark. First thing that I noticed was in 2022, my daughter goes onto my SSA account to attempt to go into the steps to see like, get ready to apply for me again, because I have difficulty seeing, okay, computer screens, and I'll get dizzy and stuff like that, and then with all these feelings happening, my eyes blurring and stuff, I start feeling disorientated and I can't focus on doing like paperwork and 5 and 10 and 15 screens of answering all these questions, putting in medications and doing all of that. My daughter does it for me. So when she attempted to go in there and do this, she noticed that it stated that my address had been changed to my ex-husband's address. So my address had been changed to 5500 De Soto Street, apartment 4111 or 1411. I can't really remember how the ones are on that apartment number. Houston, Texas 77091. So because on a computer you can't like control alt or whatever it is to like print screen, you can't do it. And I think my daughter like started to try to like research like what is going on, like how did this change? And I was like, why didn't you take a picture with your phone? And she's like, oh, Mom, I didn't think about that. So I immediately saw it myself, because this is when I was staying in my daughter's room before I had a bed and everything. Y'all know I got rid of my bed, sofas, everything from the old apartment having mold. So I was staying in the room with my daughter till I got this bed. Well, this is actually her bed. I gave her the brand new bed, which is too soft for my back. Anyway, I got up from the bed and I'm looking at the computer and I'm like, wow, it literally does say his address. And it literally had his name there. I was like, what the hell is going on? Now, keep in mind, the ex-husband suffers from end-stage renal failure, and he's on dialysis, and been on dialysis since, I believe, early 2013. So he receives Social Security income benefits. So how do they blur the lines? So I call Social Security, and I'm asking them about it. And the woman is going crazy, and she's like, ma'am, you need to come up here. You have benefits that you're supposed to be receiving. So I'm not going to be able to change your address because from what I'm seeing here on the computer, there's benefits you're supposed to be receiving. So you need to make an appointment with us so we can get everything corrected and get your routing information and everything too, so we can be sending you your checks. So, I wiped the sleep from my eyes. I'm like, man, what are you talking about? Ma'am, I'm telling you, getting rude, getting crazy. So I said, woman, lady, I don't know what you talking about. And I called that the 1-800 number and got somebody. What I asked you was, why was my address changed to my ex-husband? We are not together. We don't live together. What's that about? That was a simple question. You proceeding to tell me about some benefits that I supposed to be receiving. You ain't giving me no proof of nothing. You not telling me nothing. You really didn't even ask me to truly, properly identify myself, because what you're seeing on the record, want to make sure this is her. What? So I hang up on her ass because she's like, ma'am, like I said, I'm not click. I contact the Office of Inspector General via online. Put it in as a formal complaint because that's how they have it set up. I receive a call back. But at the same time, my daughter is still able to do certain stuff, put the right address. That's strange. Matter of fact, let me back it up. She couldn't change the address, which is what prompted me to call Social Security Administration Customer Service Hotline. That's what had happened. That's why I had to put in a formal complaint with the Office Inspector General, because I just told you about how that conversation went. And this is the reason why I be recording conversations, because when I'll tell the story and what happened, especially if it's the person that is supposed to oppose my truths, to look at me crazy, but then how are you going to explain this conversation if it's supposed to be on a recorded line? So how can you tell me you got the ability to record me and what I'm saying to conduct business under my identity? The government gave me this identity, and I'm conducting business under this identity. That you can tell me this will be on recorded line, but I can't record what your recorded line should be recording. That part. So eventually I got a phone call. The young lady was very, professional, and she said, ma'am, we have corrected it. You're now able to go into your Social Security account. There should not be any issues or whatever for you to do what you need to do. Smooth sailing. My daughter proceeded to get all the medical records and all this stuff and start typing this up again, October 2022. So then I finally get a lawyer who does a reconsideration. And through this reconsideration, it's time for the hearing to possibly show up. I'm dealing with this law firm that is playing around, got all these young people, teenagers, like silly people calling my phone, all kind of stuff. So when I'm trying to ask, like, who would be the actual attorney that I would speak to? Okay, well, it could be Tom, it could be Jerry, it could actually be Elmer Fudd, or it could possibly be Roger Rabbit. I'm not really sure, but a cartoon character will attempt to handle a very serious situation of your Social Security benefits case. So they got fired. I get a hearing, and ever since that hearing, which I believe we're in 2026. Daughter, when was that hearing? I don't know. That's why I'm asking you. 2020 who? No, it was last year, baby love. I'm gonna tell you how I know it was last year, because of the simple fact that the lawyers have been saying, well, since it's over a year, you got to reapply. So I believe it was April 2025, a year ago, and it's been stuck on whatever they had left it at, stuck right there. But yet the denial still happened, and then that's when I never got the denial in the right amount of time on purpose. So therefore, I couldn't get a lawyer that sees like, oh, okay, let me go here and file this. It was on purpose. Contacted us, talked to a black woman at the Social Security right here on Dillard. And she was like, well, ma'am, I said, this is what this is not going to be. You tell me what I don't have. Okay, this is not going to be a combative discussion of you telling me you should have got it because we sent. That's neither here nor there. I didn't receive it. And by the way, I had to go to my post office box when I did have it. So why didn't it go there? So I had to talk about do an official complaint through the United States Postal Service about my identity and my mail being tampered with and my mail being rerouted, stopped, all this. My daughter was trying to get a new bank card. It didn't come. They let her know, yes, it was sent back to us, and she had to do it at least 2 more times before it finally came. This shit is ridiculous. So overall, I put in another official complaint to the Office of the Inspector General about it stating that there's no actual address for me on file at the Social Security Administration. And here's the big what? I literally have been living here in Lincoln Park Apartments since 2012. I've been stuck here. Me and my child been stuck here. So how you don't know where I'm at? A government mandated funded public housing, Section 8. How you don't know where I'm at? And this ties into why, when it was time to do that recertification, finally in November, that they started trying to say they're sending my case to my file to legal because I did the right thing and put on there that the real breadwinner in the household is my daughter. So all of a sudden, now I'm in the hot seat because I did the right thing. I was no longer going along with this whole, no, you need to keep it in your name, Ms. Fontenot. When don't the IRS and the TWC work together to prove that Elizabeth has not had any tax monies from a job in a long time? What are you talking about? But what I did receive was a letter that says by somebody, I can't even say who the name was, a letter somewhere over there. You're going to respect us. We're going to be sending your paperwork to legal. I haven't heard anything. So why is all these attacks happening? Could this be the whole Saturn Mahadasha that I was talking about? I needed a way to make it make sense. But what my intuition told me today is that you have a clean identity. That's why it would be viable to be used. You don't have a criminal record. Confirmation. You don't have a criminal record. You don't hold a lot of debt. So just as they would use people's identities that are already deceased and gone and recirculated, why wouldn't they use yours and literally wipe you out like you are not a real true soul, breathing soul talking right now? So this is consistently happening, and it's time for the completion, the finality of things. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. I'm still dealing with this, and I'm praying that this will be the year that everything comes full circle, so to speak, and all these attacks and everything they've been doing, and thinking that, you know, well, it just goes on. It just anything I complain about, put in a formal written complaint and show all the proof thereof. It keeps getting on the desk or popping up in the email of somebody who's been groomed to make sure that you hear her out, but it is to fall on deaf ears and blind eye. We're not going to do anything to rectify the situation. So I'm giving all the praise to the universal spiritual laws of things, and that everything about this stuff is this nightmare is going to be over soon. So with that being said, I'm out. Peace and blessings.